Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. My next guest is Donna Drehmann. She is the Director of Customer Experience from Eargo. She is a speaker, customer experience designer, and children's book author. She has worked at companies like Postmates, Asurion, and even TikTok in customer service leadership roles. Today, we're talking about the contact center, about how you measure it, how you know it's successful, how to develop your contact center agents, and the secret of the world's highest performing contact centers. Please enjoy Donna Drehmann. Donna, welcome to the Modern Customer Podcast. Are you calling in from Nashville today?
I am calling in from Nashville, yes.
I love Nashville. It's so fun there.
It's a great town.
Did you grow up there?
I didn't grow up here. However, I've been here a little over 20 years, so I feel like
Oh.
I've matured as Nashville has matured.
Oh, Nashville is so different now, right?
It's a lot different. I love everything about it. We have a great tech community. We have a great contact center community. So we're both growing up in great ways.
Well, I am so excited for you and for Nashville that is having this genesis. Let's talk about your career. You have had so many interesting career experiences at Postmates and TikTok. Can you just talk about how you got your start in the contact center world?
I think I'm one of the rare CX practitioners where I have done the jobs along the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started in customer support, in account support, and just made my way through leadership by performing and hitting KPIs, by building great cross-functional relationships. And from that, I was able to take on more and do more. And when I talk about doing more, that's about exploring training, exploring quality assurance, exploring workforce, all of those peripheral contact center roles that sometimes when we're head down in our customer care role, we don't realize are there. But I was lucky enough to have the chance to do all of that. And I just realized that it's so interesting and it appealed to my curiosity and my detective nature to
Yeah.
continue to explore how can we improve the customer experience, how can we listen to customers, and how can we
Yeah.
solve their problems better. And so thankfully it's been a perfect fit for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love that. So you were at Asurion, and that's actually somebody referred me to you who was
Mhm,
at Asurion.
mhm.
What was the moment where you knew that you were just like a lifer in this industry and you just really wanted to do this for your career?
I think it was the first time I had access to and was reading customer comments.
Oh, wow.
It
Okay.
just seemed like I got it, or there was more to the story, right? Typically, we're in the conference rooms and we're whiteboarding and we're making decisions based on what we think. But to have access to the customer comments and find out what they're looking for, what drives
Mhm.
them to interact with a company was fascinating to me, and I couldn't get enough of it.
Okay, so you were at Postmates at the time when I would say it was growing the most. I mean, I don't really follow Postmates closely, but can you just talk about your time there and what that experience was like through the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness for Postmates and other delivery companies during the pandemic,
Oh my
right?
gosh, I
Like,
know.
what would we do without them, right? So, when I started with Postmates, their support center was here in Nashville. We were scrappy. We were trying to figure it out. Even, myself coming with years of experience, it was new problems and new scenarios. So we built a really robust team of contact center agents. We focused on three pillars at Postmates, not just the end customer who was receiving the goods, but also the Postmates who were delivering the goods and the merchants who were making the goods. And so it was the first time I really looked at, like, I don't know, a three-legged stool or whatever you want to call it, to want to have an ideal experience across all three sections of the delivery. It was really important that everything went right to make that end customer happiest. And We were really popular at the time, number one in LA. We
Hmm.
had a high energy. And I'll share one other thing with you, Blake, because this was the first time in my career I got serious and learned more about social media support or
Okay.
support through the social channels because we had a very active Twitter handle where customers would go for support. And I hadn't seen that before in other industries that I was in. So I needed to learn quick how
Right.
to add that channel to the channels we were offering for customers to reach us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did the same when I was at Intel. I remember they were like, if you want to do Twitter customer service, that's great, but you're going to do it yourself. You're going to respond to customers. And that was very intimidating. But I'm so glad I had that experience because it puts social customer service in a whole new light. What is it like to be at a company that is growing so rapidly and you're building the airplane as you fly it?
Yeah, it's a rush, right?
Right?
For
Yeah.
adrenaline junkies, it's definitely a rush. And I would say for me, what helped me and my colleagues is we just needed to be as organized as we could be in the areas where we could be organized. And so an example that comes to mind for me is training. We were
Yeah.
onboarding constantly, right? But we got really tight with our training calendar, our training curriculum, how we delivered the training to different classes. And that just really helped us grow and be able to manage that growth that we needed. And then also up level and the path to proficiency was shrunk because of the focus that we had and how we were organizing our training. And that was really the biggest part that we could control, right? Because we could control when we were going to onboard, how we were going to onboard, and then how we were going to monitor agent success afterwards. And so for us in the contact center, it was really important we had our arms around that entire process.
So, some of the areas that you focused on quality assurance,
Hmm.
trust and safety
Yeah,
training, outsourcer management.
yeah.
Was there one customer experience technology suite that you used to manage all of these things?
Our primary um, application was Zendesk.
Okay. Did you
Um,
like it?
I really did like it. In fact, I've referred it to anyone who would ask me. I refer it to them, and that for me is because it can link into all other parts of your operation. So Zendesk could have been where we were answering cases, but it was also where we were doing some quality assurance. It's also where we were handling our easiest customer issues automatically, to where we were refunding customers. So it was really important that we kept our contact centers in one system or maybe just like two or three systems to do their work efficiently. But that took time because at the beginning, Google Sheets was our friend, best friend, right? Like we were
Yeah.
really going and trying to figure out. But once we made that investment, we found that Zendesk was the place where we could do most of our work.
And did you do anything in Zendesk with customer insights at Postmates, looking at the data?
Not necessarily, but we could tell, who our customer was. So are you a VIP? Do you order frequently? What was your last order? Do you have a history of complaining or not? And that was just so that we could make more real-time decisions, not necessarily strategic decisions.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, because you have such a cool resume, I have to ask. So, talk about your time at TikTok. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of, building the plane while you're flying it also. That was during the pandemic. We
Right.
were all remote. We were ramping up, just starting support here. They now have office space and a more robust program here in Nashville for support. But at that time, there were 160 associates, all
Mm-hmm.
remote, trying to serve our customers. There were 13 team leads. Um, you know, we were just really trying to figure out how to design this support model that was going to serve our customers best. And I'll tell you what, we didn't start on Zendesk there, but we moved over to Zendesk there for
Oh,
some of
okay.
our cases because it's just, the most efficient. So we didn't even understand yet what customer issues we would have. So
Right.
it really was starting from scratch. It's like, okay, we have a way for customers to reach us. We don't know what they're going to reach out to us about, but we're going
Okay.
to try to help as best as we can. And then, you layer on some type of training program, some type of workforce program. It was neat at TikTok at the time. I'm saying it now, but I'm kind of getting flashbacks because it was hectic too. But um,
Yeah.
we leveraged all of our expertise. So it was like, hey, you come from workforce, you know how to do workforce? Okay, let's figure this out together. Oh, hey, you used to run quality over here? Okay, let's figure this out together. And together we, put some pillars in place so that we could have a solid contact center. But I mean, managing 160 associates and 13 team leads remotely is something I'm proud of, but definitely was not easy.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm talking to you, I'm just remembering. I mean, there is some controversy now around TikTok and data, and it's not the least controversial of all the social networks. I will say that.
Yeah. Definitely. I have been away from them for a while.
Yeah.
However, at the time, this was during the pandemic and before, um, we had a different president than we have now. And, he wanted to ban that platform in
Okay.
addition to some other platforms. And so we had to navigate that and we had to think about what do we separate and how do we separate it. And that was really unique because I never worked for a company that the government wanted to ban
Wow.
and
Yeah.
figuring out now
That's a
what.
whole thing.
Yeah, so that was an interesting time as well.
I find TikTok fascinating. I think I'm too. I won't say too old for it, but I never got on the bandwagon. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really on TikTok, so I do these long form video content pieces,
Hmm.
like I'm doing with you right now.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk about the state of customer experience and service. Some say that customer service is down in the last few years. That, like Forrester says, that companies worked so hard to meet the customer where they were during COVID that now they're just tired. They don't want to keep investing in customer programs, and they're not. Any insights from you about what you're seeing from a broader perspective on the state of customer service?
Yeah, there was that movement where we wanted to do whatever we could for the customer,
Yeah.
even if it was becoming unreasonable. And I think it's right that we're dialing back from that
Okay.
because we can't be everything to everybody. But I go back to reading customer comments and being enlightened by what the customers were telling us. And so, as a customer experience practitioner, you need to understand what do your customers want and deliver that. Just that.
Yeah.
That should be the baseline. They might want a great product. They might want 24-hour support. They might want some loyalty benefits. But whatever it is that's making them want to continue to do business with your company, that's what you have to start with and get really good at that. And then layer on, how can we surprise and delight? How can we go above and beyond?
Mm-hmm.
And bake that
Absolutely.
in. So I'm perfectly fine with dialing it back a little bit and just really doing what matters to your customer when it matters to them.
And how was the agent retention at these companies you worked at Postmates and TikTok and the others? Have they been strong or 50% like industry average?
Yeah, I would say I would say a little bit above industry average,
Mm-hmm.
actually. And now, this was also a time where we were providing more to a traditional contact center agent than we had in the past. So, open office space, um, breaking down the silos, games in the break room. And I'm not saying these are bad. I'm saying like this is what happened. I've been a part of like the shift in contact center environments, right? Lunches on Mondays and Wednesdays, snacks, all of those things. And so that helped us for a while keep our agents, even when we needed them to work really hard and maybe even work overtime. But what I have found that keeps agents is investing in them and investing in their future, getting to know your agents, finding out like what do you want to do next, or
Yeah.
and how can I help you get there. And if you have an environment where you're doing that and regularly leaders are asking their frontline associates those types of questions, you're they're going to feel welcomed, they're going to feel a part of the organization, and they're going to tend to stay.
Absolutely. It seems like a lot of agent retention and employee retention for that matter is just about the experience is are you being a good manager? Are you being a coach? How do you make them feel welcome? How do you invest in them? And it seems like it's not always financial like you might assume.
It isn't. And one of the things that I like to do as a leader is I want to know who you are outside of work.
Yeah.
I know what you do here. That's fine. But let's talk about what else do you like to do? What else motivates you? What else gets you up in the morning? And then see if maybe we have some of the same things in common. Maybe I can help them with other interests outside of what they do for the company and what they do for work. And I have found in just getting feedback from employees and even former employees that that's one of the things they enjoyed most about working for me is just I'm authentic and I took a genuine interest in who they were as the whole person.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it when people take interest in me as the whole person, right? So why would I
Right.
not do that for my employees?
Absolutely. Seems like at Asurion, a lot of people really, I hate this phrase, cut their teeth, but like that's where a lot got that initial training. Would
Yeah,
you say that Asurion really got you started on this path?
yeah, 100%. And I believe it is because we had the latitude to experiment. We had the
Okay.
latitude to fail fast. I worked with a group that was really creative and really wanted to solve customer problems. And also, customer experience was top down, without a doubt. You ask any executive, and they are saying, like, we have to have the best customer experience in the business. We were a big net promoter score shop. That's where I cut my teeth with net promoter score, a metric that I love and I work well in and have developed NPS programs for many organizations. And so having that top down directive of we
Yeah.
will make it right, we will figure out how to have the best customer experience, gave us that creativity and leeway to try all kinds of different things.
So let's talk about Net Promoter, Donna, since you mentioned it.
Mhm.
How do you think practitioners that are watching and listening can leverage Net Promoter without it being gamed and, to be honest, ruined? Because that can happen as well.
Yeah. Well, everybody says this, but it's true. You can't just focus on the score, right? The score
Okay.
is one thing, right? Segmenting your customers, you know who your promoters, passives, and detractors are. That's important too. And listen, I sound like a broken record, but I'm telling you, it comes back to the customer comments that you're capturing. Ask the
Mm-hmm.
recommend question and ask them why they gave that answer. And what they tell you will give you the direction across your organization for what you need to improve. And you have to share it. So I have had some recent success sharing voice of customer. I worked for a company where they knew that there was a survey, but nobody ever saw it really.
Right.
Nobody knew what the outcomes were, what the score was. And so immediately I started cross functional sessions where I would share voice of the customer with the
Mm-hmm.
functional groups that could do something about it. The product team was elated.
Mm-hmm.
The marketing team was elated because I was sharing with them what customers were saying they liked and didn't like about the product, they liked and didn't like about our website, and they could immediately take that back, put it on their roadmap if it wasn't on there, and make positive changes. And
Mm-hmm.
customers liked it as well because they knew we were listening. So if you're starting a Net Promoter Score program, I'm going to say comb through those customer comments, share those comments with the functional groups inside your organization, and then let customers know you're listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds really wise. And then when you share out that voice of the customer data, like, is that literally just qualitative, like looking at sentences that they say, or how do you share that in a way that really tells the story?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, right? I want folks to listen to, because I also host listening sessions where we listen to the calls, right? But I want folks to see and read from the word of the customer, from the mouth of the customer. So it's a little bit of both. So we share comments that are with key parts that are highlighted, but then I also trend the categories over time to say, like, hey, remember when all of your customers were talking about the price of your product? Well,
Mm-hmm.
look, we shared that. You guys have discounts now, or you adjusted the pricing, and now price comments have gone down, and here's what they're talking about now. So I
Hmm.
also like to trend the categories over time, so internally we can see improvements and movement, but then also we can see what's the next area that we want to tackle.
Donna, what do you think the best contact center metrics are that drive the right kinds of customer focused outcomes other than net promoter score?
Yeah, um, that's a great question. For me, I think handle time is a
Mhm.
key one, right? Because customers don't have all day. They're calling with problems. Maybe they're calling on their break or after dinner or while they're making dinner. And so it's like we have to quickly identify what their problem is and give them an answer, give them a
Mhm.
resolution. So
Mhm.
I think handle time is key. We have to keep that in the sweet spot. Um, and I want to say quality, but quality I like to break down into customer centric attributes and business centric attributes. And so
Okay.
on quality, it's basically the customer centric attributes, right? Thank them for their business, use the greeting, be polite, like all things that we like, right? So
Right.
AHT, customer centric attributes for the quality of the call. And then the last one that's hard sometimes is first call resolution or first
Yeah.
contact resolution. Listen, like
Yeah.
if I have to talk to you, make it short, like be polite, tell me what I need to know, but don't make me call back. Don't transfer me
Yes.
somewhere. Let's just get it all done in this one interaction.
Isn't that an empowerment issue for the agent if
It
the
can
agent
be.
is empowered? Okay.
It can be. I have consulted with an organization where I think their first contact resolution was like 40%. I'm like, that can't be.
Yeah.
And we took a look at it and how about their internal processes were
Yeah.
causing that because there were
Right.
handoffs all over the place. And I'm like, I bet we could keep this call with the agent right here if we just, adjusted some of these processes. So we cause our own problems sometimes. It's always good
Yeah.
to look inward.
Yeah. Reducing back end complexity seems to be a big pursuit for
Mhm.
many businesses
Mhm.
today.
Yes, definitely. And sometimes that's easy to do. Sometimes it isn't. But my philosophy is, and this is very common, right? But my philosophy is let self-service or the IVR or even social support handle those simple issues, and let's keep the complex ones on a call with an agent so they can take the time and go through those complex issues. That might involve multiple systems and multiple processes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It seems like the contact center, it's just there's so much innovation there happening now. Do you think it's an exciting job opportunity for young people that they should take seriously to start working in customer service in their careers?
I mean, I feel like I'm a success story, but here's what I know, what I've seen through years, is frontline customer contact folks don't understand or necessarily grasp all of the information that they have in front of them. Customers are talking to them all day. Customers are sharing their problems, what they like and what they don't like, and they have all of that information. Um, so I hope that frontline customer contact folks become empowered to use that information, to feed it back to the business somehow, even if it's just to your team lead, to recommend a process change, volunteer for a project. I'm very passionate about this now. In fact, I'm working on some type of material that will help a contact agent figure this out for themselves because you don't always have that leader that's invested in you that wants to know who are you outside of this role. And so if you don't, you need to know how to do it for yourself. You need to know how to find a mentor. You need to know how to volunteer for projects. Also, look up and look around. You might be in a contact center where there's workforce in one corner, there's quality in another corner, there's marketing in the back corner, and all these people are right there in the same floor that you work on, but you never interact with them because you just don't know that you can, and that they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. I feel like you could teach a whole course for young people on how to get started and what they should be doing. That's a good idea. That's your next gig.
That is my next gig, and I'm working on it, and I would love to because, like I said, I'm a success story. I know it can happen if you have a team lead that is passionate about your career just like you are, or if you can empower yourself to do it. There's a phrase that I like. I didn't coin it, but I've heard it. Be CEO of brand you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah,
Well, you're speaking my language, Donna. Let's get to know you a little bit in rapid fire. You ready to take some quick
yeah.
questions? Okay. What is the most important part of your morning routine?
This is new to me, but it's very important, and it is getting up and getting exercise and going for a brisk walk.
Love it.
I started to
All
do
right.
that. I'll do a little humble brag. It's weird. I started to do that while I was in Paris this summer on
Yeah.
vacation. I know, humble brag. But I just kept it up. And now that it's fall weather, even here in Nashville, I just love it. It energizes me. So that's my new favorite routine in the morning.
Do you have a unique leadership hack that helped get you to where you are today?
I think just being curious
Hmm.
and building cross functional relationships.
What do you do to relax at the end of a hectic day?
I'm a big book reader.
Love that. What show are you currently binge watching on the streaming apps?
Lessons in chemistry. And I read the book
Okay.
too.
Okay, great. What is your favorite leadership book or resource?
Am I going to be a geek? I think I'm going to be a geek and say the ultimate question. I'm a big net promoter score person.
Okay. Fred Reichel, shout out.
Yep.
What's your idea of perfect happiness?
Uh, I'm healthy and my sons are healthy.
What is one mental health strategy for managing hard days?
Go to a movie.
Yeah. What is your favorite type of vacation?
Beach vacation.
If you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Great question. Oh, I know who it would be. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, yeah, he was so talented. If you had to describe your outlook in one quick motto, what would it be?
Optimistic.
Perfect. Well, Donna, this has been so fun. I'm so glad that we got you on the show. You came highly recommended from many people in the industry. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much.
And all of you have been tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. Until next time.